Day. The icing on the cake, Reverend Vera McNally is going to tell us about mending what is meant to shine. Thank you, Reverend Vera.
Good morning. What a beautiful, beautiful morning. What a way to bring in March the 1st. When I saw that snow coming in, I'm thinking of a saying that my mom used to say, in like a lamb, out like a lion. So when that snow came, I thought, no. And then I thought, that's okay. It can snow because I'm going to be gone in a week. Where it's 98 degrees. So I'm thinking like, maybe I might want to bring a little snow down there for my friends that are down there because they had to go find some water somewhere because they said it was so hot that their poor little dog's tongue was hanging way down. And it didn't matter how much water she drank, she was still parched. So they took her to the lake, and what a fun time that was. And I'm going to join them in a week. And I would send postcards back, but apparently it's hard to find postcards in the States these days. Oh, you want me to bring a T-shirt back that says, I'm here, you're not? I can arrange that. Yeah. Okay, so if we would just like to take a slow breath in and slowly and gently release as we begin with an opening treatment. You may close your eyes if you choose. There is one life, one light, one infinite present expressing everywhere. This present is whole, complete, radiant, and perfect now. This is the source of all healing, all restoration, all truth. I know that the same divine light lives within me, within all beings, never broken, never diminished, only waiting to be revealed. I affirm that whatever has felt dim, wounded, or hidden is now gently mending in the light of love. Spirit within resonates harmony, renews strength, and awakens the brilliance that has always been there. Nothing real has ever been lost. What is true is shining forth now. I accept this wholeness. I trust this healing, and I allow this radiance always. As I accept this for myself, I accept this treatment for each and every one here. With gratitude, I release this word into the law, knowing that it's already done, and so it is. So today we're going to explore a sacred truth, and that is nothing that was created to shine ever truly lost its light. It may be covered, it may be dim, it may be doubted, but it has never stopped. Today we're about to learn how to mend what was meant to shine, not fixing what is broken or flawed, but mending, restoring, remembering, revealing what has always been whole at its core. Now, many of us were taught, either subtly or directly, that we must become worthy, that something about us must be corrected before we deserve love, peace, and joy. How sad is that? That we have to earn it, that we have forgotten that's what we are already. You're not a problem to solve, you're a light to uncover. As Ernest Holmes taught, there is a power of good in the universe and you can use it. And that power is not outside of yourself, it's inside, it's right here, and it shines. And sometimes if it doesn't shine, you have to put some bling on, so that you can get out there shining. The mystics across traditions agree on this. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The Buddha nature is within you. The divine spark is within you. These teachings all point to the same revelation. Your essence is already intact. Life does not break our essence, but layers it. Life layers it. So there's a layer over top, just like the onion. The very center of the onion is usually very sweet, but the outer layers get stronger and stronger and stronger. But layers What are they? They're layers of disappointment, criticism, fear, or misunderstanding. And over time, we forget what lies beneath these layers. We begin to identify with the covering rather than the light. Imagine a lamp wrapped in cloth. The room grows dim, but the flame has not weakened, only the covering has thickened. Spiritual work's not about building a new flame, it's about gently removing the coverings. There is a profound difference between repairing and mending. Repairing often implies something is wrong or broken. Mending implies something is beloved. What we mend, we cherish. A beloved quilt. How many of you have been received a gift of a quilt and it starts tearing it apart and ripping and stuff, and you don't want to throw it out? My granddaughter's a perfect example. When she was born, I quilted this little baby quilt for her. And she just loved. She took that thing everywhere. It didn't matter if she's going to the bathroom. It didn't matter if she's going to the park. It had to be with her. And over time and use and love, it started falling apart. So I said to her, why don't you just throw it out and I'll make you a new one? Oh no, Grandma, you have to mend it. I love this blanket. So of course, over the years, I've mended it and mended it and mended it, and now I'm mending the mending of mending. And so finally she decided she'd put it in her little hope chest, and that's where it is, and she convinced me to make another quilt. So we don't throw out things that we cherish. What about a family heirloom or a treasured garment that you love to wear? Your favorite pair of slippers that are just like falling apart at the seams, that you're getting the crazy glue out and you're gluing it and you're trying to stitch it, but they're so comfortable and you just love them. So we don't throw it away because it's torn. We mend it because it matters. And what if you approach your own wounds that way? Not as evidence of failure, but of proof of value. You're very valuable. The places in which you ache are not signs of weakness. They are places asking for attention, compassion, and light. The poet Rumi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Notice he did not say the wound is a flaw. He said the wound is an opening. One of the greatest illusions we carry is the belief that we can be permanently damaged, or we are permanently damaged. So I'm going to share a little story when I was born. Way back in the day, goes back a few years, not many. I was born dyslexic and with ADHD. Now, when I was born, I didn't know what they were. My parents didn't know what they were. There was just no news about all that stuff, right? But when I started going to school, people noticed that I was different. And of course, they started making fun of me and stuff like that. And of course, I'd go home to my parents and say, I saw I'm being picked on because they tell me I can't read and I can't write and I'm backwards and everything else. And my mom says, well, that's because you're unique. So I'm kind of wondering what that meant when everybody thought I was different. Now she's saying I'm unique. And I said, well, what do you mean I'm unique? And she said, well, think about it. So what if you're different? So what if you're unique? That makes who you are. Thought about it. Okay, well, I could live with that. So I went on my life adapting to being dyslexic and ADHD. And of course, I didn't know that I was any of that until I got older. So I didn't have to fix anything because I was unique. You can't fix something that you don't realize is broken, right? So I accepted that as being unique. And Lauren says, a bit weird. So he's added a little bit to that twist of that stuff, but that's okay. I'll accept being weird too, because you know what? That's important, to be weird and to be yourself. And not only that, do you realize that in our history, how many dyslexic people there are? Thomas Edison with the light bulb, Graham Bell with the telephone, Henry Ford, who created the first car, Leonardo da Vinci, who was a painter. He wrote backwards, and he saw things in a mirror image. He didn't see, so when he saw things, it was reverse. But look at the amazing paintings that's man-made. What about Steve Jobs that created Apple? He didn't even finish school. Louis Pasteur, who created the vaccine. Isn't that amazing? And these people didn't even know that stuff existed. But they did think there was something wrong with them because a lot of them wanted to commit into an institute because they saw things different. But they were unique, and look at the gifts they gave us. So take your uniqueness and use those gifts and share them with the world. So life experiences may scar you, but scars are not evidence of ruin. They are evidence of healing. Science even tells us when you get a cut in your skin, it heals. It's thicker, the skin's thicker, and it's often stronger than the original tissue. Spirituality, the same principle applies. When we have challenges, we move through consciousness, and it becomes our strength. But here is where many people get stuck. They believe that the pain defines them. They say, I'm anxious, I'm broken, I'm not worthy. Instead of saying, I experienced that anxiety. I moved through that heartbreak. I faced rejection. One statement imprisons identity. I'm anxious, so that's you identify. The other describes your experience of life. So I experienced anxiety. So how was that, right? So you're not your anxiety. You're just experiencing that. So when you bring it back to center, that anxiety slowly disappears. You're not your wounds. You are the awareness, and you're witnessing them. An awareness of your true nature is never wounded. Let us consider light itself. If light shines through dirty windows, does the light become dirty? No. No, the window does. The light is still there. It still remains pure. Your soul is that light. Your conditioning is your window. When we forget this, we begin trying to polish the light instead of cleaning the glass. We strive to fix our essence when what we need is tending our perceptions, our beliefs, and our unhealed memories. Spiritual practice is window washing. Prayer, meditation, forgiveness, and compassion cleans the window. Every loving thought wipes away another streak until suddenly we realize the light was never dim. It was only hidden. One of the bravest spiritual acts is learn to see yourself with kindness. Not after you improve, not after you succeed, even not after you become better, but right here, right now, as you sit in those chairs. That's when we accept our uniqueness and treat ourselves with kindness. We often believe kindness must be earned, yet divine love does not operate on a reward system. It just radiates. Isn't that amazing? Your divine love just radiates out there. But you put a cover over it and you hide it. It becomes dim. The sun does not shine only on worthy fields. It shines on all fields and all plants. And the spiritual truth is this: the divine does not love a future version of you more than it loves you now. There is no upgrade edition of you that is more deserving of grace. So why do we withhold our grace from ourselves? Why do we withhold kindness and beauty and love? Often because somewhere along the way we've learned that harshness produces growth. But harshness produces fear. Love produces growth. Plants grow towards sunlight, not toward criticism. And your spirit does the same thing. So when somebody criticizes you, how do you take it? Like, oh, I did something wrong, I'm bad. No, because criticism can be very helpful. It can help you look at your situation in a different way. So look at when somebody's criticizing, just take it with a gentle kindness and love. And then thank them afterwards. And then you can go home and be mad about it, okay? But while you're there. But look at that when something is in front of you. Look at it with kindness, with love. Because that's what growth is all about. Healing does not begin when we fix ourselves. Healing begins when we notice ourselves. Awareness is the first stitch in the mending process. When you notice a pattern without judgment, you loosen its grip. When you observe a fear with curiosity, it softens. When you witness a reaction with compassion, it begins to transform. Awareness says, there you are, old wound. I see you now. And being seen is often what pain has been asking for all along. So when we look at issues that are bothering us, as a matter of fact, this morning I got up and I was feeling really like like, I couldn't explain the feeling that I was having. It was just a real down, heavy, burdening feeling. And Laura and I were sitting there having coffee, and he was very quiet, and I said to him, I said, well, are you okay? And he said, well, no, not really. And I said, okay, you know. I thought, okay, here he's going to say I'm doing something weird again, but no, that wasn't it. So he just sat there in silence, and I was just feeling, oh, something. So then he finally broke out, and this 5 years ago, his granddaughter passed away. So it really hit him hard, and then after he spoke of that, then this feeling that I had just kind of dissipated. So those of you that are empaths, and you're picking some of this stuff up, no, it may not be your own, so look at it. Do look at that, because sometimes we have those nigglies going on and we just can't explain it. So look to see what's going on in your environment, because if for empaths, and I'm going to say I think most of everybody in this room is empathic. And so look at what's going on, and then you can heal it right away, and treat that, whatever it was, with kindness and love. I didn't brush it off saying, oh, this is just stupid. I mean, why would I be feeling this? It's a beautiful day. I'm going to be going to the center, seeing all these wonderful people. But I didn't brush that off. I stayed with that feeling and found out what it was all about. And I'm glad that I did. So pain persists when ignored. Pain softens when acknowledged. So instead of asking, how do I get rid of this feeling, try asking, what is this feeling asking me to understand? What am I trying to understand here? That question shifts you from resistance to relationship as the divine sees your original design. Imagine for a moment how Spirit sees you. Close your eyes for a moment. How does Spirit see you? How do you see yourself? Not as your mistakes, not as your fears, not as your doubts, but as your original design. Just as a sculptor looks at a block of marble and sees the statue already inside, the divine sees your wholeness even when you cannot. Michelangelo once said he did not create his statues. He simply removed the stone that wasn't the statue. So he already saw it perfect, whole, and complete, and he just removed what didn't belong. That is what spiritual growth is. Not self-creation, but self-realization. The real you is already present. Every insight, every prayer, every awakening moment simply removes what you are not. There's a Japanese art form called kintsugi, in which broken pottery is repaired with gold. So what they do is they take the pieces and all the cracks that are in there, and they pour gold in it. And so you see a lot of the artists, and some of them are not because they're cracked, they just design that way. But if you see that in Japan, they take that. They don't throw things away because it's very valuable to them. And they just pour gold inlay in the cracks and have this beautiful piece of artwork again. Imagine living that way. Not ashamed of your past, but illumined by it. Not hiding your cracks, not by honoring them as places where grace entered. Your story is not something to erase. It is something sacred that shaped the compassion you carry now. Something that shaped you, who you are today. Often the most healed person is not those who avoided wounds or challenges or pain. They are those who walk through them consciously. They were awake and walked through it. Another illusion we carry is that we should be finished by now. Our spiritual growth should be done. Like, what is taking so long? Right? Well, guess what? They didn't give us the expiry date. So we're on the shelf for as long as we're here walking on Mother Earth. So that healing should be complete. How many times have we said, I should be done this by now? Why is it coming up? Something that we were dealing with 10 years ago. Because you haven't healed it. You haven't honestly looked at it with kindness and compassion. So look at those issues and let's heal them. But life is not a project. It's a process. A seed is not ashamed of being a seed. A bud is not embarrassed to be a bud. A sunrise does not apologize for being shining at noon. Why then do we expect ourselves to be fully bloomed at all times? You are allowed to be unfolding gently and with love. Growth is not evidence that you are lacking. Growth is an evidence that you are alive. There are seasons when your light feels bright and effortless, and there are seasons when it feels light and faint. In dim seasons, many people panic. They think something is wrong, and even nature has cycles of brightness and rest. Night does not mean the sun has disappeared. It just means the earth has turned. When your spirit feels dim, it may not be extinguished. You may simply be in a turning point, a turning toward reflection, a turning toward healing, a turning toward deeper truth. Just trust the turning. So now, how do we mend what is meant to shine? Not with force, not with shame, not with comparison. We mend through gentleness. Gentleness in how we speak to ourselves. Gentleness in how we interpret our past. Gentleness in how we approach our growth. And gentleness is not weakness. Gentle is precision. A surgeon uses delicate instruments. He doesn't go in to do a heart operation with a hammer. He uses delicate instruments. The soul responds the same way. So don't go in there just barging in, trying to fix something with force. Go in gently. And try these simple spiritual practices. When you notice self-criticism arise, pause and ask, would I speak this way to someone I love? Would you speak to someone you love with anger and to tear them down? Sometimes we do, because we're really angry, and we want to know that we're really angry. But we got to step back, and then we have to apologize. And sometimes apologizing is harder than being nice in the first place, right? So would you speak to someone this way that you loved? Of course we wouldn't. So let's reverse that statement. And then when we're criticizing ourselves, stop, look in the mirror, and say, I am unique. I am unique in who I am. I'm a light. I'm filled with love and compassion and kindness. There is a spiritual law so assuring that if we truly absorbed it, fear would loosen its hold on us forever. Nothing real can be lost. Your essence is real. Your divine nature is real. Your light is real. Therefore, it cannot be lost. You may forget it. You may overlook it. And you may doubt it. But you cannot lose it. Truth is not fragile. Truth is consistent. Even if you wandered for years, your light waited. Even if you doubted for decades, your light remained. Even you felt unworthy, your light never agreed with that judgment. So don't agree that you're unworthy. Somebody else judged that. The world judged that. That's their opinion. Let them have them. They can have their opinions. Your light has always known who you are. So today I invite you into a new relationship with yourself, a relationship that is not based on fixing, but honoring. Honor yourself. Not based on criticism, but on curiosity. Be curious about your life. Not based on fear, but in reverence. Be in awe of who you are in your life and what you've been through, and you're still here. You are invited to see yourself the way the divine sees you, as something as luminous, as something as intentional, as something as sacred. And when you forget, because we all forget, simply return. Return gently, return kindly, and return patiently. Mending is not a one-time act. It is a lifetime devotion. So in closing, I'd like you to know that you walk from this place remembering that you are never meant to be flawless. You are meant to be radiant. May you trust that every loving thought is a stitch in your healing. And may you honor your cracks as places where grace has touched your life. And may you always know you are not being repaired, you are being revealed. Because what was created to shine was never meant to stay hidden. And so it is.